Welcome to Personal Healthcare Reform Talk Show on PHCR TV. This is episode 1 on here. If you followed me along on the Celebrity U radio show, I had a little segment on there. It's about 15 minutes. We're branching out. We're going to do a full 45-minute show for everybody out there. So a lot bigger, a lot more stuff to come. Today is going to be going over everything we're going to do with this show. So right now, this segment is going to be the health and the news, which I always did on there. I always love the Saturday Night Live news segments and Dennis Miller and everything else, so I figure we might as well have some health in the news. Comedy Central can get away with it with Daily Show and everything else. We might as well have some fun with it here and actually give you some real news. There will be some comedy, there will be some laughs, a little bit of everything in here. I am going to pick out the biggest and best news stories of the day, whether it comes from something I saw in the news, whether it's on Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, if I saw something on like say Mercola.com or Green Natural News or GreenMed Info, which I get a lot of information from. You'll see that on the Facebook page, which if you haven't been to my Facebook page, go out to Facebook, type in phcr.cbfit. That takes you to the Personal Healthcare Reform page on there. Take a look at it. I'm posting stuff all day long, all kinds of health information for you, and I cover the gambit, whether it's something from government regulations, something new in food science, if it's something about a medication, if it's something good or bad with medications. I cover both sides of it, legalities. If it deals in the health spectrum, it's on there at some point. And I'll have a witty little comment on there. I'll make a nice big long statement, depending on how I feel about the subject. It changes day to day and how I'm feeling that day. So get ready for some fun with that, because it's up and down, it's all over the place. But like I said, this is going to be covering all the big news topics of the day. Since I am in Dallas, I'll be picking stuff straight from the Dallas Morning News. Kind of like, we'll show this off here. This was an article in there quite a while ago. This is an article about turmeric. Funny story, the day this article came out, I walked over to a friend's store where I get a lot of my supplements from. Walked in, 15 minutes after I walked in, guy walks in asking for some turmeric extract. And I'm in the back room rummaging through some new samples and stuff they've got back there. I hear him up front, run up there, helping my buddy out, because my friend up there knows a little about everything, but turmeric, not so much. So I go over, I'm helping him out. They love when I come in because they know they'll get at least another $200 in sales that day while I'm there. But helped the guy out, ran through all the turmeric extract products that they've got there, picked out the right one for him. He walks out the door, happy guy. But if you want to know what the power of the media is, like I said, one article, 15 minutes after I walk through the door, somebody's coming in to buy some turmeric extract. So I will be keeping you up to date on the biggest and best news stories of the day, especially when big stuff like this comes out. We will also have some movie magic. We have the big green screen here, as you can see. So not too much in the weather maps, but if there's a news story that comes up, I don't have graphics for it, or I don't have a newspaper to toss around like this one. We'll throw that up here, we'll talk about it. If I have facts and figures I want to put up, we'll have facts and figures and all those things as well. So speaking of facts and figures and news story that came out recently, this is a biggie. This came out about 3 weeks ago. There was 2 of them actually. One of them was about nutritional supplements, the other was about vitamin E and prostate health. And we'll go into those later on, getting into like the expose segment and the interview segments as well. I'll have experts on to actually talk about these things, look at where the information came from, how they ran the studies, what the actual base of the supplements were, what they were trying to figure out with the studies, who funded it, because all those things take a part in each study. And really, the person funding it really gives you a clue as to what they're trying to do with that study. If they're trying to prove something or disprove something, because they all have their own bend and what they're trying to do with the study. So you're going to say, what's the context of all this stuff? Is it real news? Is it serious? Is it funny stuff? It's a little bit of everything. I'm going to try and find the biggest and best stories out there from all the different sources. I don't come from one source. I come from every source I can possibly pull from, because they all bring different stories to light. Some are going to be, like I said, major media. It'll be Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, especially if they hit on something. They all do one story. I'll definitely talk about that. I'll have it on here because it's something that needs to be put out there. It needs to be looked at, figure out why it's such a big story, and who put it out. And then we'll have things from the internet, from Mercola.com, from GreenMed Info, things like that, where you've got a lot of studies that come out and really will not hit the mainstream for at least a good 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Kind of like Dr. Oz when he did the apple juice story, talking about having cyanide in apple juice. That was on Mercola.com 6 months previously, and it was on GreenMed Info another 3 months before that. So I actually saw the information 3 months or 9 months before it ever hit public knowledge. So I'll be throwing things out there like that way before you'll see them in the mainstream media. That way you know about these things before they hit, and you say, you know what, I saw it 9 months ago. Maybe you should watch this guy show, you know, too. That's what we're going to try and do with this show. We'll also talk about some other stuff. And I like to have my handy-dandy papers here. You'll notice there's going to be a lot of that, especially with Wall Street Journal. They've got their personal journal. They always have great articles in here that we'll talk about. This one is specifically talking about alpha males and how alpha males like to stay on top, how they stay on top. And I'll talk about, if you're an alpha male, how to stay healthy as an alpha male, because alpha males usually burn out very quickly with adrenal fatigue, cancer, stuff like that, because they're always high stress. I know because I work with a lot of them. We'll talk about stuff like female doctors, talking about female patients, what they need to do at different times in their lives, different ages. So what to do from the time you're in your 20s to your 30s, to your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. Things you need to do to take care of yourself, preventative measures, what kind of testing to do, things like that. And we'll dig deep into the testing. I will have doctors on here later on during the interview segment as well to actually flesh those things out and make them a lot more real for you. We'll have fun stories, you know, talking about best places to trail run if you go out and trail run, which is fall. It's beautiful outside. You might as well get out and get the last bit of really good sun out there and get some vitamin D production. So we'll talk about those things, which you'll notice a lot of this is Dallas Morning News. We'll talk about things like what classes are best for you. So if you should do a class format, if you should work out by yourself, what to look for in classes, things of that nature. And of course, we can't forget about what to eat, because you are what you eat, whether you realize that or not. Everything you put in your mouth is what remakes you. So we want to talk about that, talk about any news stories that cover those things. This way you know what to put in your body, what not to put in your eye, what not to put in your body. Basically all the stuff that you see right there that she's picking up, put that in your body, a lot of it. And we'll also have some other stuff, specifically talking about technology and how it helps out with everything, especially patient care, because this way patients can get in touch with each other. You can have two people that have the same sort of cancer on opposite ends of the coast that can communicate and keep each other accountable, help each other out, communicate, building community from everybody all around. This way it helps everybody out. So technology actually is going to be kind of our savior if it doesn't kill us first, to some degree. So yeah, it all comes back to how you use technology. It can either be the greatest thing in the world or the worst. So, but this was actually a really good story about how patients are actually connecting via social media, things like that, helping each other out, and they're actually getting more results from that. With that, we'll also talk about things like the FDA coming out with their brand new or not the FDA, the USDA coming out with their new little MyPlate, and we'll throw that up on here, right here, so you can see that MyPlate and see how crappy it is. We'll talk about the Harvard plate, which we'll put up here as well. We'll talk about that one, how it corresponds with the MyPlate from the U.S. government. It's a little better version, and then we'll throw the real food plate up here, which is the stuff that I eat, which you'll notice it says, eat no artificial crap. That would be the best food for you. So we'll do stuff like that. We'll talk about those articles as they come out, which they do quite frequently. We'll also talk about things like milk, so like raw milk versus regular milk, things about that, because that's a huge news story right now, especially the sale of raw unpasteurized milk in each state, across state lines, which is not allowed across state lines, but inside the states is fine. There's been a lot of raids on raw milk places lately, so we'll start digging into that, because it's a huge story that's going to get bigger and bigger, and we'll start hitting the mainstream media within the next 6 months. So I want everybody to be very informed on that type of stuff. There'll also be we'll look at the case studies for multivitamins and stuff like that. All the different vitamin studies are coming out, because there's tons. We'll look at government things like Obamacare. We'll throw that up there. This big chart, and we'll talk about all the government stuff that goes on with this and trying to figure this thing out if it actually stays around and passes. Fingers crossed it does not, because it's going to cost trillions and trillions and trillions, and well, as you can see, not exactly an easy system to figure out, because this is all the new stuff that comes along with it. We'll also talk about Obamacare in courts, how the court hearings are going, what's going on with those, the process of those, if it's going to stick around, if it's not going to stick around, what the U.S. Supreme Court is going to say about it. We'll have graphics for that up here as well. I love this green screen. I love Hollywood. It's fun stuff. And then, of course, we'll talk about big news items like my website, which my website is being completely redesigned. By the time you see this, the new one will be up. It's big. It's spectacular. Go check it out. Love it. Hopefully, eventually, Jimmy can figure out how we can do some push-button stuff on here. We'll pop it up in here. I say, look, go here and buy this, and you can just, like, click on it. So we'll figure stuff like that out as things get better, because who knows, technology, you never know. So if you would, join us on the Facebook page, because I'll be posting daily updates on there as far as news piece, news items, things like that. Go on there, Facebook / PHCR.cbfit. Go on there. Check everything out on there. Like I said, it's going to be daily stuff. If you're on Twitter, go to CBFit or hashtag CBFit on Twitter. Go in there. Go follow me. Like me on Facebook. Follow along on that daily. Like I said, it's always going to be brand new stuff, brand new news items, a lot of stuff that you will not see for at least 9 months to a year in mainstream media. I want to keep you way ahead of the loop on all that. Keep you informed. With that, come back, join us next for the interview segment, so we can talk about the interview, what we're going to do on that. We've got huge things planned for the interview segment, but we're going to talk about the functionality and how it's going to work. With that, have a great day. Come back, join us here in the next couple of minutes for the interview segment. Have a good day. Bye.